What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the MCU After Show of 4GQ TV. And I'm here, my name's Carlo, with my co-host, Paris. What is going on, everybody?
Hey, what's going on, man? Moonknight episode 2 was awesome. It was great. Can't wait to episode 3.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Moonknight 2, just drew me in so much more. I thought we were going to get kind of like more of a story, but not only did we get more of a story, we got a lot of action in this episode. And Marvel is killing it with this series. Fantastic job to the whole cast. Directing, acting, everything top notch. So, Paris, you know what to do. It's time to get into this episode.
Nice. Yes. Episode 2. Where do we start off at? Where he wakes up in bed and he runs and he trips and falls and it pulls his ankle because he's actually tied up in his bed. And he's thinking, oh, that didn't really happen. Or did it? He doesn't know, right? So he goes through his normal routine in the morning. He does the tape stuff and tries to shoot it in a basket. He looks at his fish and all this other stuff. But then he starts putting clues together. What did you think like when he first woke up? I was like, is Marvel playing with us? Did he really actually dream this? Or was this real? I know they later on in the show, they lead us to what happened. But what did you first think in that initial sort of scene when he woke up and smashed his face on the floor?
I kind of knew that he wanted to believe what he perceived to have happened to not have happened. And I kind of got that feeling, because that's why he always tied himself up, because he was always afraid that whatever was happening was while he was like sleepwalking or some type of serious blackout. Right. And he just didn't know how he ended up in all these weird situations. So he wanted this bathroom scene from the first episode to not be true. He wanted it to not be true. And he really enjoyed his job at the gift shop. You could tell Steven loved his job at the gift shop. Paris, I thought it was kind of funny how he goes into work and the first thing he kind of does is he kind of hits up the JB, the guy that has to do with the... Yeah. And he wants to see what the footage was, He's like, oh, you got to see this. You got to see this. And what did they see, Paris?
Nothing. They saw him crying. He was like, are you crying? Just like, what? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, oh my gosh, look at you. Look, what are you doing? He couldn't see anything. Like all the stuff that happened. It was interesting how they cut everyone off. So I think someone else, whoever was there investigating the event, probably knows something else was going on in there, but they didn't really show that, which is cool. It just gives us sort of that thought. It's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, there's a lot of damage. That entire bathroom was destroyed, right? And then the museum not wanting to press charges. If you're just a normal employee, like you go in to destroy a bathroom, you're gonna have to pay for that. And then they're like, "Hey, here goes a pamphlet. Go get yourself checked out." Normally you're going to jail, you're doing something like, but working at no wonder why you like working at the museum so much, even though you had a crappy boss. But
yeah, it's very laid back, right? No, you're absolutely correct. So he goes into the office after knowing that the bathroom actually was destroyed. And he's a little bit nervous because he thinks something's gonna happen, and he's like, oh, I kind of already been fired, so why am I here? And the guy just hands him a pamphlet to talk to these doctors, and the guy was very nonchalant about it, just very calm and relaxed, and just like, Steven, go, they'll listen to you. They listen to people. Go talk to them. But you would think any other situation, the police would have been there. Handcuffed him and took him to a hospital to get checked out, but
immediately, right?
So, like you said, somebody there might be on the inside of this and knows something, and they don't want to cause too much of a record, with the local authorities. So maybe that will play into some type of plot hole as we go into the rest of the season.
Yeah. It was very interesting to see that. Then he has the phone and the key, and he's talking to the statue guy, and he's like, maybe there's something in one of these lockers somewhere, right? and then he actually, which was interesting because we all the time we've seen the first episode or the different times that we've seen Steven talking to the statue guy never really moved. And this time he actually moved and looked. His eyes were moving, so he gave him a hug. So I don't know. It's just the statue guy's. It's gonna keep that there. As he must know something. I mean, it's so random that he's there when Steven is around and stuff like that. So he must know his schedule. It's just like, but I'm excited to see sort of what happens with that entire thing. Hey, Carlo, when he makes his way into the locker room, he's like digging through the bag. He's like trying to find out what's going on. How did you feel about that scene? Because Mark showed up and he was talking to him. How did you feel about that? Because that was pretty crazy, pretty wild in my eyes.
Yeah, I thought that was insane too, because he's in there and he's digging in the bag, and all of a sudden he gets the passport out and he's like, Mark Spector, CIA, what is going on? And you can only imagine, because you see Steven as this reserved introvert with a sarcastic sense of humor, and he's looking at this passport and it's like, CIA? Like, he's so confused. Like, this is my picture, but I don't remember being part of the CIA. Mm-hmm. And then you see Mark Spector's reflection come into his mind, or however that works in this. We haven't figured it out 100% yet, but Mark Spector's there talking to him, and Mark is saying, Steven, you're in danger. Steven, you're in trouble. Steven, let me take over. And Steven's like, no, not anymore. Not anymore. And Mark's just like, lay down. I will take over. Steven's like, I'm never laying down again. Never. Yeah, never go to sleep. And then abruptly after that, we see him in the hallway of that storage facility or locker facility, mm-hmm. and you see Khonshu, the deity, and Khonshu keeps scaring the crap out of Steven, and Steven just panics so much, and he runs out of there. And as soon as he's out of there, he just like falls to the ground. And who shows up, Paris? Who shows up to rescue him at that moment?
Layla. All the text messages on the phone. Now we get to see who Layla is. And then she picks him up and they drive off, and he's like grabbing her shoulder. She's like, would you get off my shoulder? That was really funny. And then they make it to his flat and get inside. And guess what? We find out Mark is actually married to Layla. So, wow. Like that was like, okay, so that explains why. And then she pulls out the divorce papers. She's like, do you want this? And then Steven is like, no, I would never divorce you. And then I'm like, and Mark was like, dude, you're messing things up. Like, stop it. Like, and then he shows he goes to the bag and shows, they find the scarab, and she's like, all these adventures we went on together and all this other stuff, and you're just going to leave me hanging, leave me dry? Like he was like doing this all by himself the whole time and stuff like that. I think Mark probably just didn't want her to get hurt. And also we found out he was protecting her and we'll jump into that. But as they're in the room, let me go back a little bit. As they were talking, Steven was talking to her, and they were talking about French and all the different hieroglyphics and stuff like that. And the funny thing about Steven is like, that's my favorite poet. She was like, no, that's my favorite. And it was like, what? She was like, dude, you need to drop the accent. I don't know what is going on with you, but you need to stop. She was like, who in the hell is this guy? Like, she doesn't even know this person. Well, she knows him. She's married to him, but his brain and this is crazy to me, because how they do this, like Steven has no recollection at all of Layla, his wife, well, Mark's wife, and they've been together doing adventures for a long, long time, right? So how does he not know that? That's just crazy. Like, there's no parts of his brain that's like seeping over, that maybe a memory or two, but it's completely blocked off. So whatever Mark is doing, it's working, because I think he was, he's trying to set himself up after all this was over to just leave this life completely and be Steven, right? So, oh man, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. I don't know. How did you feel about the scenes where they were all in the house trying to, figure stuff out? How'd you feel about that?
I honestly thought it was interesting because Layla had no clue that he had multiple personalities going on or any personality issues going on.
Hmm.
And it was very interesting because it seemed like Mark knows a lot more about Steven than Steven knows about Mark. And Mark's sitting there telling him how to handle this. Like, dude, just relax. You're messing, like you said, you're messing things up. Just do what I tell you to do. And when she's talking about the Egyptian stuff and the
Hmm.
hieroglyphics and all that other language stuff, Stephen kind of has a hint of this. Like he kind of has a feeling of certain things. And he's like, no way, you know this too? You understand this? And it seemed like the other personality, Mark, wouldn't allude to knowing that much to
Hmm.
protect Layla. So that's when Mark kind of became more aggressive in his mind and is like, knock it off, Steven. And next thing we see here is like the constables or the fake constables at the door, you know,
Hmm.
and they want to come in and search around. And he thinks it has to do with the bathroom at the museum. Like Steven literally thinks that this is because of the bathroom situation.
Yeah, Steven is he's getting used to this stuff. He's not so good at it so far.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't find Layla. They were searching. I think the female cop looked through and she looked out the window, but luckily enough, she was hiding up on the roof and stuff like that. So yeah, they kidnap him and take him to the. Well, I would say kidnap him. They arrest him and take him to the to the evil guy. What's his name again? What? Mr.
Uh,
Harrow.
Arthur Harrow.
Arthur Harrow. Yeah. So they take him there. While they're in there, Steven is talking to Mark in the car, but they planted the mic, right? The walkie-talkie. They planted that to see if this is real. If like is Khonshu using Mark or Steven as an avatar for to to start whatever they're trying to do, right? So yeah, he comes to find out, and he's like, "I can help you." He's always saying he can help someone, right? Yeah, it's kind of weird. I think he's an avatar for someone else. I don't know, or he's just being used as something else. There was one hilarious part I thought when he was talking to when Steven was talking to Harrow, and he was like, and then Conchi was like, slit his throat, kill him. Punctures, he said something. I was like, oh crap! He's like, do it. Right? And he was just getting mad. Right? I was like, oh my gosh! And the other Harold was like, I can, you can. Is he telling you to kill me?
Yeah.
Yeah, He's like, can you hear him? He's like, no, but I used to be his avatar, and I was like, whoa, what? Okay, did he, or is he just saying that to? Because Khonshu didn't never said anything about it. He just, you would think that he would say something. I think there's probably some truth to that. He was the avatar, so yeah.
Yeah.
As they're in there, how did you feel about as we're gonna get into Mr. Knight, where they're running around. Layla shows up with the scarab to protect Steven, because Steven is like, no, you guys kill kids. You can't kill kids, bro. That's crossing the line. Like, how are you going to kill somebody before they even do, or even because they think that they're going to do it? It's like, I think about killing my boss all the time. Oh, I'm not going to do it, but I thought about it. Right? So am I bad? Like, you're going to kill kids and stuff? He's like, well, it's like a severed arm. You got to sever something. And I was like, whoa, this guy's really demented. Like, he's really meaning this. So Steven was like, nah, bro, I'm okay with all this. Then Layla shows up with the scarab. They run around. She's like, put on the suit. He was like, I can't. Put on the suit. So how did you feel like they're in the locker, well, in that room, they're locked in there, and Steven and Layla are talking. How did you feel about that scenario as we lead up outside?
I think it was very interesting to know that Layla knew that Mark Spector was the avatar for Khonshu in a sense. Whether she knew directly he was the avatar, she knew they had some type of superpower because she
Mm-hmm.
alluded to the suit. And when Steven couldn't pull through, I think she started to realize that, okay, wait a minute, maybe he's not really Mark all the time. Maybe there's something else going on here that I need to sit back and think about because we might be in trouble. We're about to be in trouble. And she couldn't even see the jackals either, which was very interesting. When the jackal came through, she just didn't know what was going on with Steven. Thought maybe
Right.
he was a little crazy, flying out the window on his own. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting because how did Mark now this is a plot hole for me. How did Mark introduce Layla to Moonknight? Like, how did this happen? How much
Right.
does Layla actually know? Because she showed up to intervene with the Scarab.
Mm-hmm.
She showed up to stop Harrow from, doing whatever he was going to do to Steven,
Right.
which was quite interesting to me, by the way. There's some type of plot hole we're missing that she knows about these people, this cult.
Yeah.
And that has me very curious because after this fight scene, they're out in the streets, right? Paris, they're fighting in the streets. And it's almost like a moment where to me, it feels like a cross between the Mask and Deadpool, right? Because like he falls, hits his head, and he's some sort of Moon Knight, right? But he's not like the actual Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
He's a variant. He turns into a variant Moon Knight.
Variant of Moon Knight. It's like Mr. Knight. Right?
Yes. And that Mr. Knight had Steven's complete sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, yes, yes!" And he starts.
Yeah. What do you say? It float like a butterfly. My name is Steven with a V.
Yes.
Wham!
Oh man.
Oh man, that was awesome. I love that version of the suit and how they introduced Steven as Mr. Knight, right? He was like, "Get on a suit." He was like, "This is my version of the suit, not your version. This is my version." Right? He was like, "Dude, you can't beat these guys. You can't beat the creatures. We need to. You let me take over." So they let him take over. Steven finally understood and was like, "Okay, Mark, you do this." And that's when it got really epic when he was chasing him and he did that move and he jumped on the building and rolled over and then caught the creature and the jackal and threw him through the building thing, statue, whatever thing he landed on. And he sort of withered away in sand. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, we need to see some more Moon Knight scenes because man, Moon Knight is just man, I want to see him just sort of I mean, if the first two episodes that lead up, it's just been awesome. But now it's sort of like the Mark Spector sort of vibe is about to start taking over. Sort of what I feel. And Steven was like, "Oh, yeah, right." When they were when they were down out in the podium, and then Khonshu shows up, and he was like, this isn't your body, bro. Either you're gonna keep on working for me. There is no deal. The deal is you're going to be working for me pretty much forever, right? That's basically what he said. He was like, once it's over, it's over. He's like, no, this is not your body. This is mine. So yeah. And I was like, if you don't want me to take your wife's, then you're going to be working for me forever, basically. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I guess that's where it is right now. With Khonshu and with Mark. And then Steven shows up. And Steven's like, so this is how it is on the other side. It's like, this is weird. He was like, I know. You'll get used to it. Just breathe. He was like, I'm going to take my body back. He tried. He was like, no. Sorry, Steven, but it's my turn to take over, right? It's my time to take over. How did you feel about that whole conversation they had? Because Mark got really upset and he started smashing the glass. Like, oh, he was vengeful in that scene.
Yeah, I think it shows quite the contrast between the two personalities. And it's like, in some sense, Mark feels bad for Steven. And as a viewer, I feel bad for Steven too, because he recognizes that he doesn't have control of the situation, and he's in the glass in the reflection, saying, "I want the body back. I want to be Steven again." And Mark is like, "No, you can't be Steven right now." And Steven tried with all his energy to kind of take it back, but it just exhausted that personality. And then Mark breaks the glass because he's frustrated. And the real situation here is that Layla could be in danger if Steven took back over. Khonshu could make Layla the next Avatar and just kill Mark if he wanted to. I mean, Khonshu is powerful. He's a Egyptian deity, and There's something here that I hope that they allude to in this by the end of the season, and
Mm-hmm.
this has me so intrigued, Paris. It's the fact that Arthur Harrow was talking about how he was an avatar for Khonshu at one point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then he said that Khonshu was like the troubled kid of the family. And
Right.
he was kicked out because he threw temper tantrums, and all these Egyptian deities, kicked him out from their, I guess, whatever club they could
Yeah.
kind of have.
The God Club.
Yeah, the God Club. And that is interesting to me
Yeah.
because it almost seems like Khonshu chose an avatar to bring justice against all the other possibly Egyptian avatars that
Mm-hmm.
hurt the vulnerable. And it's his way of saying, you kicked me out of the club, so I'm just going to destroy everything that you guys are trying to do, you
Right.
know? And how does Arthur Harrow fall into possibly being used or maybe even the avatar of Amit? And I don't understand that because Amit hasn't risen, right? But he
Mm-hmm.
has a piece of her power.
Right.
So now I'm starting to think that Khonshu tried to destroy Amit before she could rise spiritually. And
Mm-hmm.
this is how Arthur got a piece of that cane and that power. These are questions, Paris. We need answers.
Yeah, we need some answers. Hopefully, in episode what's coming up? Episode 3. Yeah,
Yep.
hopefully episode 3 ties into that. And we're in Egypt now, so it's going to be interesting as they go through and you know Mark is Mark. He was drinking. He was just like, this is the real me. He's probably drinking because probably doesn't want to go to sleep or whatever. He just wants to he wants to get this stuff over and done with, and try to figure out everything else after it's all over. Maybe plead with conscience, hey, release me, but I don't see that happening. So yeah, it's so good. I just love the way that they're doing these episodes and how these first two were brought out, and just everybody starts loving Steven and Laters Gators and how he talks and all that stuff with the accent. It may not be the perfect British accent, we know but it's designed that way because he's not British. He's actually from the United States. Well, his comic book character. We'll see what happens in the TV show and stuff like that. But yeah, I just love the fact that what he's doing. Well, love the fact that what they're doing with this Steven and Mark personality thing. Will they introduce another personality? I mean, because Moonknight does have a few others, but we'll see. I'm kind of okay with these two, right? I think if they did introduce another one, I don't know based on just 6 episodes, like how that would play out, right? Because would that get into interfering with the show, with what they're currently doing? I don't know. I don't know how do you think if they introduce another character, one of Moonknight's split personalities, you think that would, how do you feel about that?
I think that would be a very complex situation for them to write in right now because
Yeah.
he's dealing with the cult, he's dealing with Harrow, he's dealing with the possibility of Amit rising, whatever that has to do with Mark.
Mm,
And Khonshu won't release Mark, and Khonshu's now looking at Layla if Mark doesn't cooperate.
right.
And Khonshu could basically just take Mark whenever he wanted
Right.
because whatever deal they had. So I think that I would predict that the next maybe, well, we're already up to episode 3 coming up, so I think that maybe next season we might see a new personality
Mm,
or a glimpse of something else, because I think that there's other Egyptian gods that will probably end up getting involved. Nobody
hmm.
likes Khonshu, apparently.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Nobody
That's
likes
the problem, right?
Khonshu. Yeah.
Right.
And it seems like that Khonshu and Mark, they have a lot of whatever knowledge, artifacts, maps, whatever he's collected. And it's ironic that Steven ended up working at a gift shop in a museum that dealt with
Yeah.
Egyptian artifacts.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to stay close to the home team, right? Got to stay close to what he's doing. I just love what they're doing with this show. It's just so much opportunity, right? So it's just like Moon Knight and the Egyptian gods and sort of the dark side, the nightmarish side of the Marvel universe. I'm digging this because we got Blade coming. Blade sort of was at the end of Eternals, was talking to Black Knight. So the Blade movie, I just have a feeling that they may be Midnight Suns. Can we get a little bit of that? I mean, it just would be so perfect. We don't have to do this whole Avengers thing. We can, they don't need to be part of Avengers. We just have this new other super group, and they're fighting demons and vampires and werewolves and spirits and all sorts of Egyptian goddess and all this other stuff. It's like, and then Doctor Strange may be the sort of the leader of the group, right, to bring everybody together. I don't know. It just would be just awesome to see them sort of work that, if that's what they're trying to do. Crossing my fingers, because I would love to see a Midnight Suns um, movie with all of these characters. They're all in the same. They're all part of that group. Blade, Moon Knight. You would add Black Knight because he's sort of in that sort of, his family has been fighting for hundreds of years, and they've got the sword and all that stuff. It's tied to that sort of evil demon sort of thing. And then one thing I want to call out is back in Loki. Um, I don't know if it was I think it was episode 2 or 3, where Loki was, going through the books and all that stuff, and there, Mobius was showing him around, and he was like, yeah, it's like a nightmare, and he was like, oh no, that's another department. Like, so, oh, it was like, I wish they would shut that department down or something like that. I was like, so there's a nightmare department. What does that look like? Will they ever have is that a precursor to all the things that are going on, like Doctor Strange and Loki and nightmares, and it's just so much. I hope they use that. So Marvel Studios, if you're watching our video and you throw that nightmare phrase out there like that, and during one of the episodes, there are people that picked up on that. So and if that's a whole nother department, who are those people? Are there variants? Is there another variant Moon Knight, like you think, right? There's all sorts of stuff that can happen now, right?
Well, with Mr. Knight,
Right.
that is a variant. A lot of writers and people they're reviewing are saying that's a variant. So now I'm curious if Steven ever was Mr. Knight without knowing it somewhere in the Marvel
Right.
universe.
Yeah. Right. And his thing just hasn't triggered into a Nexus event yet, because he hasn't done anything that's triggering it. And the Mark comes back right in time, and then the timeline goes back to normal or something like that. Who knows, right? It could be that. I don't know. That's a good call out. It's just another awesome job by Marvel Studios to give us all these theories. So
absolutely. And Paris, there's one character I'd like to see somewhere along this, because I think this character has something to do involved in these kind of weird situations. And that is a character a lot of people don't know about. He's called Sleepwalker. And I would be interested to see Marvel put him or that character into a TV show or a glimpse in a movie to bring him out of the comics, because in the comics he wasn't, he just wasn't super popular. He had he had a series and whatnot, but this is how Marvel has always done things lately, is these variants slip into the episodes and then become so much more involved in the universe. So Marvel, if you're watching, you have an underutilized character called Sleepwalker. And this is a cue that maybe it's time to bring that character out.
Yeah, aren't they doing a Werewolf by Night? I think they are on Disney Plus series. So if they bring him, they're bringing him. Oh, Midnight Suns, bro. That's all I'm saying. Midnight Suns with the Blade movie, a Moon Knight show, and Werewolf by Night. Oh, then got Black Knight. Oh, you just throw all those characters together, and then Doctor Strange and Wanda as the extra characters, and they throw a few other characters into the mix, and then just have them fight like Dracula, vampires, all sorts of. Whew, man, it'd be the dark side of the MCU, but it'd just be lovely to see. We don't have to. There's not much technology that's involved. We don't have people blasting people with their lasers, and we don't have people throwing hammers and people swinging with spider webs and all that other stuff. It's like we're getting to some more serious, hardcore sort of nightmarish, play with your brain stuff. Like I would love it. I'd love it. Take a turn for the dark side a little bit and change it up. So
absolutely. Yeah, this was Marvel. This was the energy you needed on Disney Plus. So congratulations on a fantastic second episode. Looking to episode 3, man. I can't wait to see that and the rest of the season. I am so hyped already.
Yep.
I'm already ready for next season too. Like I could just binge watch the whole thing together.
Yeah, episode 3, man. If you go look at IMDb, we've got Mitch. She's supposed to make an appearance. Uh, Two Spectres are gonna be making an appearance. Let me just look. Let me just verify which Spectre. We got Wendy Spectre, and then we have what's the other one? Not Mark Spectre. Well, we already know who Mark Spectre is, but there's another Spectre. So we got Wendy Spectre. Oh, Elias Spectre. So if that's his sister and brother, or whoever, I need to look that up. So if people know who these folks are, it'd be awesome to share with us in the comments. But and we know Mark Spector has a brother. I need to look it up to confirm if that's his brother. If that's his brother turns evil and it's just like some nightmarish dude that's just tied to gods and all that stuff and just out there tormenting people. So that would be awesome to see that his brother is an evil person running around and Mark has to stop him. And the only way he can stop him is Midnight Suns and all that other stuff. So
Yeah, great tie into the game coming out later this year as well. So that perfect
yes.
timing, Marvel. If you did something like that, perfect timing.
Yes. Perfect timing. You talk about drawing attention to your game. Draw these characters together, and that's going to be attached to this. To if you're thinking about bringing Midnight Suns into shows and a movie and stuff like that, wow, the game it's going to be awesome. We think we did like a preview of that game, so dang, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting, man.
Yeah.
So as everybody's watching this, you came here to watch this show, so thank you very much. Leave your comments below, and Paris, tell them about that Marvel Facebook group.
Yes, you can come to Marvel Cinematic Universe on Facebook. If you don't know Facebook, just go to Facebook, search for groups, and type in Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're probably the only private group that has over 500,000 people. So join up, come chat with us. There's always somebody in there chatting about something about the movies or the shows, and it's just an ongoing, thriving community of just awesomeness. Everybody's pretty much kind to one another. We try to keep it kosher and make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak and voice their opinions and keep the Marvel Universe hype because that's what it's all about. We have contests, we have people that like to come in, and we got some actors from the Marvel Cinematic Universe in there, some producer, all that type of stuff. People that are attached to Marvel are in the group too, so it's pretty cool. Come by, say hi, chat it up with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, to everybody out there on the internet, see you next time.